Oh my god, I'm so glad to be back. How you guys doing today? Anyway, hey, what have I missed?
Everybody knows shit's hot. Everybody knows shit's hot.
Hey, would you look at that? Valve released another update for TF2 when I was away. Wow, this is really cool. Meet your match. That sounds really interesting. Why don't I just pull up the list of all the, game changes, such as the character balances, weapon balances, new weapons, new maps, things like that, and just take one good long look at.
Can't say where the day flows, only time.
Wait a second. We also get a new weapon, and it's an alt class. That should make it better for everybody, right? Yeah? No.
I'm giving you a night call to tell you how I feel. I want to drive you through the night, down the hills.
So yeah, it's been quite a while. I've been off doing things, and while I was away, it seemed like Valve updated Team Fortress 2 with a really big update called Meet Your Match. Now, from the first looks, it was quite buggy when it released. A lot of stuff wasn't working. Casual mode was complete fuck fest, and I would like to get into details about that. But if you want more like examinations on that, go ahead and check out Uncle Dane's channel. He has more insightful looks.
But hey, Cyrus, what's your video gonna be about then, huh? Just gonna waste my time, you 7-sub fuck? Okay, now hold your horses there, McCree. It ain't high noon yet. And how dare you talk about my 7 subs that way? They are bright, colorful young people who have always had my back on things when I'm like suffering. Now, fuck off. No, look, what I want to talk about is I believe I can add something to this table of Meet Your Match. It seems to me that it brought out a lot in the community that needs to be addressed, such as how we see Team Fortress 2 now versus back then. Back then, from what I can remember, I joined back in 2014. I'm pretty sure I was late to the party, but it was still in that kind of phase of chaos. Because when I first joined, I had no idea what to do. But after a while, I had to learn I really had to learn if I wanted to stick with this game. And that was kind of breaking a bit of Team Fortress 2 with a lot of people. It seemed like they couldn't learn the learning curve, and if they didn't, they would either be stuck being this noob, or they would just play the objective, which nobody would do in Team Fortress 2. Like, yeah, you see that? Yeah, you see that thing? It's a bomb. You can push that thing if you really want to, but, no pressure. Yeah, something like that. It was this big clusterfuck, from what I remember. And when I got into Team Fortress 2, my friends are, I got my first PC, and they're like, go play this game, it's free to play. Now, then you don't have to spend any money, and it says I'm a poor fuckfest, or I'm a poor fucker. I'm like, okay, yeah, fine, that sounds awesome. So I do, and then I'm like, I join the game, I start playing. The first thing I was doing was Minecraft servers, because I was just like into learning how to, kill, learning how to move with a mouse and stuff, so it took me a really long time. But I've logged in almost 3,000 hours into this game, and that seems to have helped me a lot. I mean, 3,000 hours in the span of almost 2 years, that's about 3.8 hours a day that I would spend trying my best to play the game. And it paid off, but not many people are as dedicated as that. What more people need is that they need a direct narrative for them to incorporate themselves into the game. They're not going to spend that kind of dedication in a game that they don't know or they don't like. They'll just go somewhere else, and that has been happening a lot. So with this Meet Your Match update, the Valve people, or whoever's working at Valve on TF2 specifically, they looked at this and they saw it as being an issue because Overwatch, No Man's Sky, or well, not No Man's Sky, Overwatch, Halo, Call of Duty, they're looking at like how directly the narrative for teaching players to do the objectives, how big of an influence that could have, because not many people are going to be that kind of person who they're like, oh, I'm just going to get all these kills, because not many people can do that. They're not that good of players on average. They would rather do the objective and get points that way. But since there was barely any narrative for us, or barely any incentive, any motivation for us to do the objective, it just everything turned into team deathmatch. This is just based on when I first joined the game, when I first joined the community. This is how I thought. But after a time, I decided, maybe it could be a bit better. Maybe I can do different stuff. Maybe there's a different way to play. And that's what Valve is doing right now. They are expanding all these alternative ways for Team Fortress 2 to be expanded in its lifetime, because let's face it, guys, it's a 9-year-old game, almost a decade old, and in video game time and internet time, that's like almost a century. Like, Jesus, I'm surprised it's lasted this long. No game should be lasting this long. So with that in mind, Valve has gone and tried to do what they can, but what we're feeling is, what the big pinch on our asses is that we're feeling kind of neglected as a community. Since Valve has taken this up front, they aren't really being communicative with us as much as they can be, or they haven't had time to develop that kind of communications, being treated as if we're being neglected. And that's what's pissing off a lot of people, is that neglect. And with that neglect, Valve has got us going every time they update something. We're like, what? Why? What the fuck? Why'd you do that to the boots? Why'd you balance that? Why'd you nerf this? Why? Motherfucker. Now, with that said, Valve is doing what they can. From my perspective, I think they're doing what they can. They have a lot of stuff that they need to work with, and they are understaffed. So what we need to do, if we want things to go a certain way, we have to be more clear on what we say. I'm not saying it's all our fault. Like, we need to do what we can. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are working their asses off in the communities, trying to get everything that they can to help out in this game. But that's just a small part. I mean, we all need to be unanimous with what we say and what we do. If there's a certain, item that a lot of people, think should be focused on, we should all just get together and spread the word that, hey, this weapon needs to be balanced, or this needs to be nerfed, or this needs to be, buffed. We need to be able to take control of that. We can't always just, say, oh, this needs balancing, that needs balancing, this needs balancing. We have to pick one. That for me is how Valve is trying to talk with us. They're saying, pick one and then go with that. Which is an example of that is Heavy versus Pyro. That's what's going on, is that they're telling us we can only do one certain thing at a time. Choose which one we need to be focused on, because we can't really spread our resources that thin. We're understaffed, whatever. They're having difficulty trying to reach to us and keep us happy and keep this game lasting longer. For me, that's what I believe is going on, I've heard from a lot of TF2 YouTubers, I've heard from a lot of other people that, it seems like this is the final straw and a lot of people are quitting TF2 because there's other games. That's fine. I mean, to me, Team Fortress 2 will always be a game I can always come back to and play, regardless of what time. I can always remember the good old days of playing TF2, and I look forward to what's gonna happen next. And if everybody just decides that, hey, TF2 isn't worth it, and it kind of disappears off the map for, ever, that's fine with me. I mean, I'll come back and play some bot matches for good nostalgia feeling, but I'm not saying we should reach that point yet. Why don't we try our best to, see what we can do to push this and make it last another decade? We have the capacity to make this game last a long time. We just have to be more focused and clear unanimously so that Valve gets the bigger picture of what they need to do. They can't just keep going, browsing Reddit pages. They can't just go Steam pages and browse here and there and get a feeling. We have to be unanimous with what we say. I'm pretty sure we've already kind of done that, but I'm saying we need to be more focused. We need to make that a priority. Let's say Pyro's coming up, right? Pyro's pretty much won at this point. Because we're trying to tell Valve that, hey, this needs to be focused. Pyro needs a direct narrative of what he needs, or he or she, whatever, needs to be, for. So, submit suggestions, everybody just start discussing Pyro at this point, what he needs. Flamethrowers, balances, whatever he needs to make him, better than he is. I mean, I hate going up against Pyro. He pisses me off a lot. But at the same time, I love playing as Pyro. So, I hope what I'm saying is, I'm being clear enough to say that we need to have more direct narrative on everything that we're doing at this point, because it can come to a point where Valve will be like, Team Fortress 2 is just not making us enough money, not a lot of people are going back into it because it's stagnating. and we need to move on. I don't ever want to reach that point. And if we do, that's fine. So if you guys have any suggestions, or if you want to think of how to progress Team Fortress 2 more, just start thinking unanimously. Just start thinking together. This community has been through a lot, and we can do it. We can bring ourselves to a point where we can be stronger than we were before. This is more now we have to be the team, and we all have to play our part. What I'm doing is that I'm putting out my thoughts here. That's all. If you guys have any suggestions, or if I missed something, or if I'm not saying something clearly, please let me know in the comments below. This is my first time actually doing some kind of commentary on this game. I mean, this game has been a big part of my life, and in the span of a short amount of years, yeah. But it's always been there for me, and I want to be there for it at this time, because I feel as though it can reach a point where it might stagnate more, or it might be neglected. But hopefully we won't ever reach that point. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Hopefully I've gotten across some kind of point to somebody out there. What my main focus is us as a team, as a community, being more joined together now if we want to keep this game where it is and progress it even further. So submit your ideas to Valve, work together to find a solution. I just say thank you for listening in. Hopefully I can make different videos later on. I'm going to be focusing on something else, and hopefully I can get a video out sometime later, but I'm going to be moving to California, so thanks for listening, and take care.
It's hard to explain. They're talking about you, boy.